Hello, guys. How are you? Thank you guys for being here. I know it's been a little bit since I did a video. Life gets in the way. What can I say? Sorry. But I want to go ahead quickly. I've been getting a lot of comments, messages, and someone recently asked me this question, or something similar to this question. So I want to go over this real quick. Before I get started, I do want to let you guys know that I am officially going to be managing children now. I kind of did something like this before, but on a much more unofficial scale, assisting my son's and daughter's manager. I am now going to be doing it with them more officially. So I am actually looking for new clients. So if you are in or around mainly the New York City area, feel free to send me an email. I will put it in the description box. So we're currently seeking new talent. But today's video is going to be about scams. Now, if you have ever or are in this industry, you know there's a bunch of scams out there. So we're going to go over that a little bit today. All right, so one of the first things I want to go over is something called pay to play. And if you don't know what that is, basically what it is you have to pay a fee in order to be a part of this. Or like maybe someone's going to say, well, you pay this fee up front. Like say it's like, I don't know, $1,200 up front. And we're going to work really hard and get you auditions that can lead to bookings that can do this and this and that. Or it's like you pay every month, you pay $55 and we'll help you with this, you know, something like that. Or maybe they're like, oh, but there's so much included, like you pay this money every month or up front and we give you, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. And you get free headshots and you get a session with an acting coach or anything like that. All of that usually for the most part is scams. Is there some things out there that offer different things that are legit? Yes, but you have to be very careful. If you're going to somewhere and they're like, oh, well, yeah, we'll accept you as a talent or as a client, but we need you to have headshots. We need you to take certain acting classes and do these different things. And here are the list of people that we accept them from. So we have an acting coach you have to take lessons with. We have a photographer you have to take photos with, things like that. That is not legit. You can get pictures from anywhere you want to get pictures from. Your own photographer. If you're a photographer yourself and you want to do them, hey, that's on you. You don't want to mess with anyone who says you have to use my list of photographers, my list of acting coaches, or anything like that. They're just trying to get money for themselves, and they're trying to give you it in a package deal so they can pay. You can pay out more and they can get more. Okay. Another thing is for us in my family, how we kind of broke into this industry. We started with children's pageants. Had nothing actually to do with acting. It was a whole different thing. People started actually recommending us to try acting just because of the situation we were in and how my son was winning and things like that. But we started in pageants. And a lot of times when we went to the pageants, they had a thing like, if you win this pageant, you can get in front of Hollywood producers or Hollywood casting agents and things like that. So can some of them be real? Yes. A lot of them were scams, and I know this because even me, before we went legit, I was just like, okay, well, it'd be cute to see my little one in a commercial or something like that. So we tried it out and things like that, and I paid all this money for different things, and it was a scam. Okay, so one, you don't want to pay to play. Don't pay anybody for anything. No one can guarantee you work. The most you can do is someone, an agent, a manager, something like that, is going to send you auditions and you're going to submit them, and then that's it. That's all they do. You just want to make sure you have someone who's on your side, meaning they are always constantly sending you auditions and you're usually saying yes unless you absolutely cannot. That's another thing. You're not going to get many auditions if you turn down a lot of stuff, so you want to keep that in mind. Also, you want your manager and or agent to really know what it is you want. So if they get to know you as a person, especially managers are a little more hands-on when it comes to the clients and talent. You want them to know who you are, because if there's something like, if you're like, I definitely don't want to do, I don't know, my own stunts, and they're sending you movies or TV shows that are costing for a lot of like activity and stunts and this and that, and that's not something you want to do. Or if you're a little older and you're like, I don't really want to do the Disney Nickelodeon thing anymore, I'm mainly looking for like movies and stuff like that, but yet your agent is constantly sending you Disney and Nickelodeon and little kid things like that. So you want to have that kind of good rapport and talk to them about that. But other than that, that's the best way to get an agent. And of course, there are always self-submissions, so you can submit yourself to do your own auditions on different websites, what I've talked about in other videos, so you can go ahead and look that up on my page. But yeah, you never want to pay to play. Pageants, things like that, or not even just pageants, but little talent shows, things like that. A lot of times, like I know one time this happened to me, you're just walking through the mall and there's people sitting there and they're like, oh, your kid is so beautiful, and you know, they'd be great on TV. I'm running a promotion right now, you know, it's like a list of things and it only costs this much, or oh no, it's free, you just come out to this session and then we'll take a look at the kids. They have like a little audition, prepare this little commercial, come out and perform it, and then we're gonna pick from there. And that's cool, but then a lot of times when you get there, they're like, okay, perform the commercial, you do it, your daughter does it. Oh, they were great. You know, we really wanna work with them and everything like that. Here's our list of fees and things you need to have done, and here's our list of people to do them, stuff like that. So any money you have to pay up front, not legit. For representation. So if you go to a photographer, of course you got to pay up front. If you go to acting classes, of course you got to pay up front. But if you are looking for representation, a manager or an agent, not legit. Now, if you're going to go and get yourself PR, that's different, because you pay your PR person on a retainer, so you pay them every month. They get you appearances or interviews and, you know, spottings, and get you into certain events and things like that. So you pay them every month. So you may have a lot this month and now you have nothing this month, but it doesn't matter. You pay them on a retainer every month. Manager and agent should only be making commissions off jobs that you book through them or through their network, something like that. So that is for sure. Don't pay anybody up front. PR, that's a little different. You're gonna have to pay a PR person up front and monthly, usually. Okay, unless you have some other deal worked out, which is possible. Sometimes that happens. But for the main reasons, main basics, it's usually a retainer per month. Also, there are things online, especially if you're like on Facebook or Instagram, things like that. They have, I can't remember all the names of them right now, but there's different ones for, like, this one's for Disney and this one's for Nickelodeon. One of them is called Premiere. Barbazone is one. Premiere. I don't personally condone them. Okay, and there's a few other ones. I can't remember what they're all called. And basically, you sign your child up. I actually went to one of these before. I think I went to Premiere one, hour and a half away from where I lived. I think it was like in Philadelphia. But so you sign your child up. You come out to this like convention, and they always have some type of celebrity or rising star you know, there. So when I went, they had the little boy from the TV show The Fosters. I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember his name, but it's a TV show called The Fosters on Freeform. The little boy, his name is Jude in the show. He plays the character of Jude on the show Freeform. But he was there, and he was saying how, you know, they were saying how he went through this program, and that is how he booked the show The Fosters. And this is when he was much younger than he is now. It was like maybe 5-7 years ago. And they were saying how, you know, he started here at Premiere, and then he worked his way up, and now look where he's at, you know, to basically give you that oomph, to be like, oh God, I want to do it for my child, get my child making good money, and get my child, you know, in this large show, things like that. They really want it, and this would be great for them. But then by the end of the convention, like, they tell you all these different things, and I'm not even gonna lie, even me, I was like, oh, this is sounding so good. And they're going to this convention, and I'm like, these are the different things you get to do. And not only will you just do this convention, but you'll be able to travel, you'll be able to do conventions here and there and there, and there'll be like little acting sessions you can practice and partake in, and there'll be chances to meet and get in front of casting directors and agents and managers if you're not represented, and different things, and you're getting to travel, and you're getting that LA experience and stuff like that, because we'll have this whole big thing in LA and stuff like that. And they really amp you up to the point that you're like, oh, I have to have this, right? And then when the meeting's over, they're like, okay, so what we're gonna do is, I need you guys to put down today $3,000. $3,000 today, and then $2,000 in the next 30 days. It's a $5,000 package, and you get all this stuff, okay? You get all this stuff. Your headshots to be taken care of. This is done, that's done. You're gonna get all this stuff, and your kid's gonna have this whole starter package to start them, okay? And initially, I'm not gonna lie, because when this happened to me, I was very fresh. I was just starting out, but I was still a mom, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I got a little kid here, and I feel like you're exploiting him, you know? I'm like, what little kid, my kid was, I don't know, 3, what little kid is out here and your mom is shelling out $3,000 or $5,000 really for acting classes in this whole big package, you know? I was kind of at the point like, okay, my kid is very young. He wants to be an actor or, you know, TV star. I don't know what it is at the time. But at the same time, I was very reserved because I'm like, he's only 3. Okay, he could change his mind like he changes his favorite food. He's a child, a small child at that. So I wasn't sold. So I called my mom though to be sure. My mom is like my reassurance. She's like, you know, so I'm calling her. I'm like, you know, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I did bring money with me just in case, but I kind of feel, you know, I don't feel good about it. I feel like it's a scam, you know? So my mom was like, oh, it sounds like a scam, you know? She's like, I've been down some of those roads years ago. Sounds like a scam, number 1. Number 2, you had a bad feeling, gut feeling from the beginning. So she's like, if I was you, I wouldn't do it. So I didn't. And I was happy I did because later on, as I started learning more, maybe like a year or so later, and I, you know, his manager and agent, I started working with them more and we really started getting things. And then I'm finding out like, wow, they really are a scam. You know what I mean? Because they were really guaranteeing you a life or a, like they were giving you this vision of this is what will happen. They were guaranteeing it, and they cannot do that because no one knows if you're going to book anything. You could have the best manager, you can have the best agent, like literally top in the industry, and you still might not book anything because it's not up to them. Their job is specifically to make sure that they provide you with opportunities. Your job is to get the lessons you need, the headshots you need, and the skills and everything like that to do this audition. Make yourself look marketable with the headshots and your resume and things like that. Do these auditions to the best of your ability and then send them back or send them in or whatever the case may be. And then casting directors pick. And then managers, or not managers, producers and directors and everybody, they review your tape and everything. And then it's like a collective decision of who is going to be chosen. So it's not up to your manager or agent or any of these companies that are claiming that they can give you fame, that it costs this much to have this life, because that's not true. Okay, and that's actually a very big one because they are terribly, terribly advertised. Like literally, I can walk in our mall and there's someone out there with a clipboard and they got like a bunch of cute little kids sitting out there that maybe have been on TV. A lot of them, it's like background work. No offense to background work, but like they weren't even like the kids you have sitting here. Like they're not like on a starring in a Disney show or something like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's like, they were on TV. You're right. But, and I have no problem with that. You gotta start somewhere. I don't mind background, but it's just like, you know, you're using just, they can do that too, but why do they have to pay $5,000 to do that? You know what I mean? You want me to pay $5,000 for a background job? No offense. That's a lot. Background doesn't pay very well at all. And it's long hours. It's hard. Even for a kid, even for a child, you're there long hours. I mean, that is the industry though. The industry is long hours, hurry up and wait, like, but it's a lot harder when you're background. So I would say, just getting off topic for a moment, if you were starting out in background, totally fine, but I wouldn't get too into background. I wouldn't do too many background roles because you don't want to be seen as background talent, and you can't really use it on your resume. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to do it for a little bit just to get you a little bit of money, or to get you, like if you're just starting out and you want a little bit of experience on set before you start auditioning for different things, and you're still taking acting classes, but you're like, let me just get some time on set. Let me at least see what it's like to see myself walk past the TV screen, you know, stuff like that. Just get a little feel for it, sure. But I would not get set on it because then people are going to always notice you and recognize you as the background person, and you might get set in that. You don't want to get set in that if you want to progress in it, in the roles. So that's that. So as far as malls go, pageants, social media, so much on social media. And if you know someone in the industry, ask, you know what I mean? Or you can always call up agencies and be like, hey, so-and-so says they're representing you. Is this real? And they'll tell you, because there are, for instance, I'm not going to say any names, but there is an agency that is legit. I know one in New York City that has this name, and then there are like branches off of it in other cities that have the same name, but those branches are like sketchy, if you want to say. I'm not going to mention names of them, but they're a little sketchy. So you might think, oh, I've heard of that agency. They're definitely legit. You should still call and check, or look things up and check. You can check a lot of stuff on IMDb, because there's a lot of sketchiness. I for one, and I seen one of those. I actually took my child to one of those years ago thinking, oh, I recognize that name. I know that that's a legit agency. But really, the branches off of it, they're like, they don't advertise. It's not part of it. It's not part of the main company. And they don't advertise it, the fact that, like, say the big company's name is, I don't know, let's just say the big company's name is Fingernail, okay? So Fingernail, just so I don't say any names. And then there's other branches off, and it's called Fingernail Publicity, or Fingernail ET, or Fingernail, you know, something. And they don't advertise this other little part of the name, but that really is the name. It's not the same as Fingernail, okay? It's like Fingernail Smith, but they just call it Fingernail. So when you hear Fingernail, you're like, oh, cool, cool, cool. But then when you go in and you start signing papers and stuff, it says Fingernail 64, or, you know, Fingernail whatever. You know what I mean? So it's not the main branch. They purposely do that to deceive you. And I've been down that road. So yeah, that's another one. But yeah, as far as scams go, I know it's hard. I wasted a lot of money early years. That's kind of why I'm doing these videos, to help you guys kind of miss some of the bumps we had to hit. Because I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of money on scams because they were making it seem easy. Like, when we first started this, I was a mom, I was working, I was like living the dream of what I thought I was gonna live my life. And I had a small kid, a young kid, that decided to do this. So in my mind, I'm just like, you're too young to know what you want to do. Like, I've got to still do my thing and provide and be mom, not be momager. Okay? So it was hard for me to really put my all into acting and stuff like that at first, because I was still very, very active in being a mom. And, well, I'm still a mom, but like, and doing the mom thing and working and taking care of my child the traditional way, rather than this way, which is a lot different, a lot harder. So I spent a lot of money because it was like, they made it look easy. Like, oh, you can do this, you can do this. So I felt like I can do these things, all these things, and still just do my normal daily job and take care of my family, because these people are going to take care of everything. So I don't have to do none of that. So they're going to take care of all this acting stuff, and all I have to do is film my son for the auditions, and then I can still just be mom and wife, or not wife, worker, you know, things like that, like normal, like a normal family, you know what I'm saying? So I just thought, okay, that's easy. I'm paying them to do everything, and I'm just going to keep my life over here the same as it is. And anything with acting, they're going to handle. And that's how they make it seem. But that was not the case at all. So I lost a lot of money in that, because I thought I was paying for the ease of it, and the simplicity, basically, the simplicity of it. It's hard. This is very hard. And especially if you don't have like the means, like it costs a lot, different things. So if you're gonna have to spend some money in the end, whether it's travel or headshots or lessons or something. So might as well skip having to pay all the scams because you could have been putting that to where it should go, because eventually you're gonna need to spend some money. Maybe not right off, maybe not right away, but you're going to need to put some money into it when it comes to, like, I don't know where you live. Where's your closest market? You may have to travel there for auditions. You might have to travel there for callbacks. You're going to need lessons. Maybe you don't know how to put together a resume. Now you got to pay someone to do it. Or maybe you don't want to be a reader on your person's auditions, or you don't know how to record your children's auditions. So now you need to take them into a studio to record those auditions and be a reader for those auditions. Or maybe you just don't have the space, so now you got to take them into a studio. You know, you need headshots and things like that. And you're not very good at that. You know, whatever the case may be. I don't know. But maybe you need a stylist. Some people use stylists for headshots and all that stuff. So you're going to have to pay some money out at some point in time. So it's best to just, if you can, skip all those scams so that you have money to put to where money's going to need to go. Okay? I live an hour and a half from my closest market. So travel for me was a thing. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't just afford. Eventually, once I got into it, and I'm like, okay, I can't keep paying these people. They're scamming me. And once I started learning, I was like, I can't keep paying them and dishing out money when I got to worry about getting us an hour and a half in and out, you know what I mean, of the city. So eventually, you know, you'll get there. And ask people, you know what I mean? There's tons of groups. I run a few groups. I have a group called Something Like a Business. I have a group called My Dearest Hollywood, and I'm an admin on a group called Child Actors, all dealing with child actor business, child actor info. You can ask questions. If you don't want to post it and it's personal, send a message. I also post some stuff sometimes about pageants, especially in the Mamas of Royalty one. I post pageant stuff sometimes. That's just because I still have a lot of pageant fans and pageant followers. So, but I still do post acting stuff there, acting, modeling, things like that, especially for children, 18 and under. Okay, so if you have questions, you're not sure about something, questions are free. You know what I'm saying? It's better to ask someone, even if, and don't get me wrong, I feel like a lot of times, and I don't think this is the best situation, I don't think this is the way it should be, but it's the case. Well, like for instance, when I was first starting out and I would go to auditions and stuff with my son and there'd be other moms there, I kind of felt like, oh, this is cool. I took it as like, oh, it's like a soccer mom thing. When you take your kids to like soccer and sports and things like that, you like kind of befriend the other moms and then your kids befriend and all this and that. And that's kind of what I wanted and thought it would be. But when I got there, it was more along the lines of, oh, don't talk to me. Like, you're the competition, your kid's the competition. I ran into a lot of that. And I get it. I get it. These kids are competing for the same roles, especially if you have a kid that's like my son right now, 10-year-old black male, this height, this weight, etc., etc. And you have a 9, maybe 11-year-old black male, this height, this weight. So they're very similar. So they're definitely going to be competing for a lot of the same stuff. You know what I mean? I get that. But I was even getting this on the other end of the spectrum. Like, my son, and then it was a woman, okay, her son, I don't know, let's say 15 years old, Caucasian, male, you know, I'm like, they're never competing for the same things. My son at the time was almost a toddler, you know, and I'm like, he's like 3, 15, 3, like, they're not going to be competing for anything. So even then, I still can feel some tension and stuff like that within this industry. So I'm not going to say it's very easy just to reach out to anybody, because it's not. And a lot of people feel like it's a well-kept secret. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, I know what I need to do. Like, my kid is finally like winning, and I'm just not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to keep it to myself, and we're just going to skyrocket to the top. And I can get you, okay, you're skyrocketing to the top, but like, I'm pretty sure somebody helped you at some point in time. You didn't just magically, oh, I know everything, and bam. You know what I mean? Somebody helped you. So I have no problem helping somebody else up. Let's like, once you climb up a step, then you pull somebody up a step. You know what I mean? That's how I see it should be. That's how I see it should be. But the groups I gave you, Something Like a Business, My Dearest Hollywood, Child Actors, and there are some others, but those are just the 3 that I run and am admin on. They are definitely very, very open. You can ask any question. There's never going to be a case where somebody's like, oh, I can't answer that. You know what I mean? And it's all about the non-bickering. So we're not going to go back and forth and this and that. If you have a question that you feel is wrong and maybe you shouldn't ask it. Okay? Because you need an answer. You don't know. That's why you're asking the question. So there's no wrong question. You know what I'm saying? There's no wrong question. And I feel it's better that way in a safe space, because we got to really protect our children. Another thing when it comes to, this is kind of off the line of pay to play, but when it comes to scams, there's a lot of, for instance, I'm going to tell you a story someone told me 4 or 5 years ago, okay, that happened to them. They were trying to break into the industry, and I didn't know them at the time. I knew them after the fact, so I could have gave them some advice if I didn't know them, but I didn't. So she was telling me this story later on. It had already happened to her, and then I met her, and then she was telling me about it. But she was taking her child, her daughter, to these auditions and stuff like that. So she went to this one audition, and she was so excited. She loved it. Her child was just breaking into the industry, and they go, they like her, it's good. They go home, and then they get a call like, hey, yeah, we like your daughter, we want to come back in for a callback, this and this and that. So she's like, oh, okay, cool. They're so excited. They go in for this callback, and before, like, literally, like, they drove to the callback, and like moments before they were walking into the callback, the place got busted up and swarmed with cops and agents and things like this, because they were running like a trafficking ring. So they were having kids audition to be in movies and shows and things like that, and then they were kidnapping them and putting them and selling them, I guess, into human trafficking. So it's real. Like, the scam stuff is real. You have to really be sure, okay? And not even just that, like, now that I'm thinking of stuff like that, like, even on set, like, so you say you do get a legit job, a lot of times I'm on set with my kid and I see other parents and stuff, you know, we're talking stuff, and then the next thing I know, like, the parent's MIA, or the parent is like totally engaged in something else or something like that. It's very important to always keep your eye on your kid at all times. You know what I'm saying? Because if anything happens to that child, then of course it's whoever's fault that did it. But can you fully feel blameless if you are not paying attention to your child? You know what I mean? This is a new experience. And I don't care if your child is 12 years old and they've been doing this since they were infants. So it's like, they got it. They got it. It doesn't matter. They're still a child. Okay? You are still the adult. You are still the guardian. So you're supposed to be keeping your eye on them at all times. Absolutely. I just feel very strongly about that. So I just want to tell you that. Even, so pay to play, and also scams that are scary in terms of your safety and things like that. So it's very serious to take, you know, to make sure that you're taking this serious when it comes to these scams. It's not just about money, because I'd much rather spend out some money and pay out some money and lose that than the more serious situation like that trafficking thing. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to look into when it comes to that. And I don't want to scare you out of the industry. I don't want to freak you out and make you think, oh, this is just too much. It's too scary. It's a lot. It is. But I kind of see it as anything that you really want is a lot sometimes. Like, for instance, I have a lot of cousins who are like great in sports, right? So anytime like someone in my family that's like more like extended family, something like that, is like, why are you wasting your time doing this? Da, 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 da. You know, because of course you're going to get some backlash from people you care about and then people you don't even know. So I just kind of explained it to them like, well, you know, cousin Bobby has been playing football for how long, and his family has been literally traveling all over the place because they have football games everywhere. And then my other cousin, like, in gymnastics, and traveling all over the nation, different things, you know what I mean, for all these different things, because you guys feel that they can go to the Olympics and they can go to the NFL and this and that. Like, my family feels that. So you're working real hard and it's accepted because it's a sport. So I'm like, this is similar, you know what I mean? If that's what your kid wants. If that's what your kid wants. Like, right now, my son is like full set on it. And if he's not set on this, he's like set on another career I'm not gonna mention, but like, so these are his options. He's got 2 options right now, and he's full set on them. But then again, I keep in mind my kid is 10 years old, and then I have a 4-year-old coming up doing the same thing, and their minds can change at any minute because they are very young. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, just kind of say it like, you know, this is what they want, this is their dream, and it does have the potential to give them everything that they think they want in life right now. So why wouldn't I follow it the same way you guys are following football and she's following gymnastics and this and that? It could still, you know, anything can happen. We don't know the future. I don't know the outcome. It is a gamble, just like anything else in life. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. Sometimes can be costly depending on what it is. And especially when you have a younger child and you're doing this, it's like, wow, like, is this like too much? Like, am I doing too much? That's all gonna depend on you. It's all going to depend on me. How much are, because I had that same battle with myself. How much am I really willing to put into this? You know what I mean? My son's a lot older now than when we first started, so he gets to weigh in. Like, he actually, not that he gets to, he will weigh in if I'm ever feeling like, you know, he kind of comes in and is like, Mom, like, you know, this is what I want. This is what I want. So, I don't know. You gotta weigh it for yourself. But that's pretty much it for now. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit on scams. If you have any other questions, let me know. I'm thinking my next video might be about equipment and things like that you need for self-tapes. I'm not 100% sure. I got a few questions on that lately that I've been actually replying to. But feel free to literally send me a message, okay? If you have questions, you have this, you have that. These videos I put for you guys, they're free. They're knowledge so that you don't have to feel alone. Their knowledge so you don't have to make these mistakes that I made. You don't have to go broke trying to do this. And sometimes you just feel insecure. This is hard. This is scary business, especially like for us, for instance, where I'm at, we're not really, like I told you, we're an hour and a half away from our target market. So we don't have like a lot of kids here that are doing the same thing. Like, my kid does other things, he does sports and different things like that. But as far as this acting goes, there's not a lot of kids right here around us that are doing the same thing. So sometimes it gets lonely, and sometimes you need another child to interact with your child, or you need another mom that can understand, or parent or whatever, that can understand what it is that you're going through, because it's hard and it's a lot, and sometimes you need to vent, and sometimes you have questions. So that is why we're here. Post your questions, send your questions, we will answer them. But please go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. If you are not already, share the channel. I'm trying to help as many people as possible, and this is free. You know what I mean? This is free information. I do have another route where I have paid information, where I go with people and I consult with people coming up in industry. So this is what I'm offering for free. You know, there's no charge for this. So post what you want me to talk about. Post it so that I can give it to you. It's free. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Like I said, I'm probably going to be talking about equipment for self-tapes. I'm not 100% sure yet. That may change depending on what you guys comment and message me about, things like that, because I want to give you what you're asking for. I don't want to just give you what I think you need always. So just let me know and we'll go from there. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Go out, go audition, be great, be awesome. I'll see you next time.